Morning, everybody. I toast to you. And all you do, I hope you're having a fantastic morning. So today I want to talk about the moon. There's a lot going on, so I might talk a little fast because I want to get it all in on a reasonable length video. There's so much going on right now astrologically. So first and foremost, before we even get into the moon, let's talk about Pluto right now, because Pluto's in retrograde. It went into retrograde at the end of April, so it's been in retrograde for a minute now. It's got a long retrograde, just like Saturn and Jupiter and Neptune and all of the planets that are on the outside of us. They have a much longer retrograde. So it's not felt as sharply as Mercury's retrograde. Retrograde and Mercury is fast. So it's kind of like that swift, quick dagger of an energy for a lot of people. It definitely cuts through the BS and shows you the real fast. Pluto, on the other hand, is a slower, deeper kind of churning almost. It has to do with evolutions and transformations. And when Pluto is in retrograde, it highlights all of those transformations. So over the last couple weeks, you might have really been thinking a lot about the things that you've changed or the big transitions that you've made. Not little transitions, but like major life transitions, like, moving, starting new relationships, ending relationships, just different kind of things like that. And even like cosmic changes and like big changes in your chain of thought, like how you process information kind of changes. It's a really deep energy. And so when we talk about those transformations, they're transformations that really go down and that you feel on that really deeper level. And so when we're in this retrograde, we can really see those transitions. It highlights them. It says, hey, you've made this change, maybe why, maybe you're curious as to why. And this energy right now can really help you dive into that. So then we have Saturn's retrograde, which 23rd, that's not today, is it? I don't know, maybe it is. Saturn's retrograde is happening very soon, right before the full moon, 25th. Yeah, so this just happened. Today's the 25th, right? I don't know. I get so lost in the month. Anyways, so we just had, so Saturn's going into retrograde. Now, Saturn is like this great like justice teacher. It has a lot to do with karma, and that it really highlights the lessons that we're learning, and it shows us the past, present, and future all at the same time. So you're seeing all of this come together, and so you see the consequences of your actions, you see what caused your actions, you see what's happening in that moment, and it really illuminates a lot of this. And so I find that this energy can be really challenging for some people, especially as it comes to the end of Saturn's retrograde. You really start to see people who are just, either they're not happy with the consequences, or they're just not getting the things that they want out of life, or they don't feel like they're doing what they should be doing. You see that really kind of pull on people. So with Pluto and Saturn right now in retrograde, you're really going to be seeing the highlight and seeing these changes that you've made, seeing the changes around you, seeing the changes in the community, societal changes, because Saturn is more than just you. Saturn is you and the world around you. That's why it has to do with those cause and effect, because energy is like a web and it's all connected, whether we want to acknowledge that or not. Your energy is connected to everything around you, the grass, the house, the neighbors, the people, the plants, webs of energy out in all directions. And with Saturn, it really shows all of that. And it shows all how that energy is processing and what it's doing, and how your involvement is affecting the people around you. So then with Pluto's transition and seeing those changes, and there's a lot of reflection going on with these planets in retrograde. And because they're slow planets, again, this isn't like, bam, now I feel this. Like with Mercury's retrograde, this is like a growing energy and then it comes to the end and you're like, whew, that was rough. I find that like head of households have a lot of trouble with Saturn because they are, you know, involved in the outside world and at the home, and just the conflicts that they feel and their roles in both of those places can kind of be stressful while Saturn's in retrograde. So you might see that or feel that if you're the head of the household, those kind of things. So then we get to the full moon. So this is a special full moon. You've probably seen it all over the internet and this and that. So this is the super blood moon. They're calling it the flower moon, but I don't think it is. I know I'm having this. It's one of those things that you're like, this is a little off. So this is the strawberry moon, because last moon was the flower moon. Because our full moons are late in the month and in the seasons. If you haven't watched the other videos, the worm moon, or February full moon, is the last full moon of winter. So the February full moon of this, or no, the March, what, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's March, not February, I'm sorry. So the March full moon is called the worm moon, and it is the last full moon of winter. This March's full moon came after the equinox, and therefore March's moon was the pink moon, and then we had the flower moon, and now we're on to the strawberry moon. And this is when the strawberries are starting to bloom, and you're starting to get fresh strawberries. I don't know if you can see my strawberries, but it's definitely happening. The kids are out every morning looking for little red strawberries. They're still green right now. It's been pretty cold at night. But anyways, so this strawberry moon is going to be a blood moon. And I know there's some confusion with the blood moon because in some practices, like heathenism, the blood moon is the October moon. And even in some Wiccan practices and some other, just different sects of paganism, that's what they call the moon of October. So there's some confusion, like, how can we have a blood moon in this month? So this is a lunar eclipse. And during this lunar eclipse, it'll be a full eclipse. So the moon will actually look red or orangish colored, depending on where you are and the chemicals that are in our atmosphere and all that sciencey stuff. But what happens is that as the moon gets to its full state, it'll actually be blocked by the Earth, and we'll get an eclipse. And you'll see all the phases of the moon in red in one night. And so this is one of those really powerful nights. A lot, again, so different pagans are going to have different paths, are going to have different explanations of this and reasonings on their magic and what they can and cannot do. You'll see some people who say that this is a very unstable time for magic. Kids are awake. Anyways, so So the lunar eclipses are seen differently by our ancestors than the solar eclipse. The solar eclipse was really, really scary because the sun was disappearing. And so during a solar eclipse, you see that the magic is a little bit different. A lunar eclipse, on the other hand, what you're seeing in the full moon is all of the phases of the moon in that short period of time. And so when this is happening, it's seen as all of the phases in one night. So all of the energy all throughout the year, all throughout the month, is in this one full moon. And then that full moon is the super full moon. So it's actually the most super. This again is one of those silly things that you're like, I don't understand. So how is one super moon more super than the other? So the moon's orbit around the Earth is an oval. And the Earth orbits at a tilt, and they are in an oval. The dog's watching me through the windows. Anyways, they're in an oval orbit around the sun. So, depending on where each of these planetary bodies are in their orbit, puts them at a different closeness, far away, during the full moon, this and that. So, this full moon happens to be when the Earth and the moon are in their closest places in their orbits during this angle, because we're in the northern hemisphere at this and all those things. Okay, so all of these things come together to put us that much closer to the moon. And so you'll see the full moon is bigger. And in some places you'll see it up to 17% larger than the smallest moon, when the moon is the farthest away in its orbit, and it's way over there in its oval orbit. Okay, so last month's supermoon, we were like almost to the closest place. So it was still a supermoon. We were very close, but it wasn't as close as it is right now. This is like as close as the Earth and the moon can get during a full moon. That's what's happening. So it's a super full moon and an eclipse, and it all comes under the energy of Sagittarius, which is this grand explorer who wants to just reach out and pull in the philosophical information and have everything come like, and go out and see something new. So hold on, before I get too far into this, let's make sure I went over everything. So it's a complete, this is called an umbra eclipse, and the whole moon will be covered. This is going to be visible in Western, North, and South America, from like Kansas, west, all the way over to China. So like Australia and Hawaii. Hawaii is going to have the best view. New Zealand, those places are going to have the best views, but it's going to be amazing. And in the time, Pacific Daylight Savings Time, which is where you're going to see the best one, it happens at 2:45 a.m. Here in Mountain Standard Time, it happens at 5:13 a.m. tomorrow morning. So you got to get up really early here to go see it, especially before the moon sets. That's going to be part of your challenge, is catching the moon setting and the sun rising and all of those things at the same time and being able to catch that view. So, but it should be still amazing if you get up early enough to see it. So, let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, we also have Mercury coming into retrograde in a few days. So you're going to have Mercury, Saturn, Pluto, all in retrograde. So that should be exciting. There'll be a lot of things highlighted, like, hey, you're having these communication problems, you're having these issues, you're doing these things, here's the consequences of them, fix your problems. So just be prepared for that, and don't think it to be too overwhelming. Don't get caught up in what you're being shown, but that you're being shown the answers to solve. Kind of, I guess, the problems that you need to solve, or the answers for those problems sometimes if you're really lucky. Anyways, so Sagittarius is this free, not big fan of boundaries, wants to explore, very philosophical, higher consciousness, just this great masculine nurturer of the mind and the soul, and wants you to get out and experience life as much as possible. Learning something new, doing new things, which really comes into play with the eclipse's energy of transitioning into something new and revealing these hidden secrets that are behind, the veil, and kind of enlightening you. So there's a lot of enlightenment happening right now. There's a lot of that available. So if you tap into that, you might just get to some next stage. You might feel, see, sense, know the next information. Sagittarius is also a fire sign. So again, it's bringing in this masculine energy. It's encouraging you to express your emotions in this very expressive way, through creativity, through communication, through writing, art, whatever it is, but it wants you to express yourself. So you're probably going to feel really creative for this full moon. So let it happen. Let it flow out. Make some art. Write something. Write a spell. Write, free. I always encourage free writing. I don't think that people realize how easy it is to tap into this information when you just let it write. Let it come. Go with it. Don't get caught up in what you're writing. Just let it come. And the more that you do that, the more that you'll connect with these energies around you, your spirit guides, just your inner self-consciousness, and just be able to better understand all of those things. So, excuse me, this is a great time for that. Sagittarius also is a hard-working energy. He is this great... he's a father and a caretaker and this creator that wants to see his creations succeed. And so you can tap into that energy to help you succeed in your work and in your ventures and like what you're doing. And it'll help you. Like, here is the support that you need so that you can expand and you can express yourself and you can really grow into who you're supposed to be. Do be cautious though, because if we get too caught up in these grand ideas of expansion and new things, sometimes we have a tendency to like quit our jobs or dramatically move or make major life choices without being mindful of them because it sounds exciting. I am a jumper. I am one of those kind of people. So I do have a tendency at this time to quit, to start something new, to leap off the cliff into the next stage of life. So just be mindful of those thoughts and make sure before you make the choice to leap that that's really the right choice for you. Really think about those consequences. Saturn in retrograde will help with that. So it should kind of help ground you. Gemini, right now the sun in Gemini will also help ground you a little bit. So just hold on to those grounding energies before you make that leap. But be prepared. Like, you might need that leap. So it's okay. Just have a little patience with yourself before you make the leap. And take a breath and then jump if you still feel the urge to jump. Let's see. So the power in your communication, and remember that energy flows to where your mind goes. I read that on one of the astrological sites I follow, and I was just like, oh yeah. So right now, with all of these energies happening and a lot of manifesting energies, spring is here. We just passed high spring. We've got all of this manifestation, fire and masculinity and Sagittarius, and all of this is manifesting. The full moon and the eclipse is manifesting all of these things. So focus your intent on what it is that you want to manifest, and that's what's going to come. Don't let the chaotic buzz of spring distract you. I did see this morning as I was perusing through social media, some people are like, do I have to worry about doing magic at this full moon? Springtime magic is always a little chaotic, and therefore you might not have the best intention and focus and your intent. And so as long as you focus your intent, if you're looking to move or you're looking for a new job or you're looking for some grand change, focus your energy on that, and that's what you'll manifest. So again, energy flows to where your mind goes. And if you are in the middle of magic and you suddenly start thinking about your car, then that's where your energy is going to flow, and it's not going to be to the magic that you're doing right here. So that's why we ground and we center and we really focus our intent. So that'll be important during this full moon because there is so much energy. Again, that eclipse, you're going to get the new moon and the waning moon and the waxing moon and the full moon and the dark moon all in the same go, but it's going to be red, so it's going to have that energy of the life force. So this is when it gets dark and it's fully covered in that dark moon, red dark moon. It's like the mother womb giving birth. It's that darkness and that life-giving darkness. And so in that moment, and when it begins to fade away, that new moon that appears is so powerful. Did you see my robin? like 5 feet from me. Anyways, so powerful. So just know that as that crests from that, fully immersed red moon into the new little light you see on the edge, that moment is going to be like an explosion of manifesting energy. So I'd highly encourage you to do that. Get out and really do it. I wouldn't encourage doing moon water tonight. One, because the full moon happens so early in the morning and the solar eclipse happens at the point where the sun is coming up. I guess that's only here. So for here in my time zone, that eclipse and the full moon, all of that stuff is happening. Unless you're looking to make a spell for change and you need water for that, I wouldn't make moon water tonight. Because this will be an incredibly transformational energy. And so the moon water you'll create will be like, oh, maybe it'd be good for like a shape-shifting spell. And now I don't mean literally you're going to shape-shift, but we have the ability to camouflage our energy to better fit into the forest, to better connect to the grasslands, to better connect to a group of people, whatever that may be. So this could be a good energy for that. If you're looking to really change something, I guess maybe the moon water would be useful. So let's see. Anything else? Oh, again, this is going to be a great night to connect with the masculine energy. And I would say as the sun rises, just after the full moon, to meditate with the god and all of his forms. See him as the page, the father, and the sage. Sometimes I think we forget that the god transitions just as the goddess does. And so he is transitioning now. He is growing from page to father. He is this abundance of energy that's available for us, and we feel him in the sunlight, and we sense him in this moon. And so you can really connect with that energy right now. And as that sun comes up tomorrow, on the 26th, I guess, yeah. So as the sun comes up and you see that light, really embrace that masculine energy and connect with that. And sometimes you'll find, so you'll find as you connect with the masculine energy, you better connect with the feminine energy as well, because you can't have one without the other. They are a yin and yang. They are a blending energy. And so as you connect with one, it strengthens your bond with the other one. And so nurturing both of those is very important. Too often, I think, in paganism, because we're coming away from a monotheism and so much masculinity, we kind of like, when I refer to the goddess father, I know some people who like cringe, like, oh my God, why would you say that? Reminds them of being in church. And I want to remind them that God, or Yahweh, was the solar deity of the Canaanites before he, what was this? It wasn't Yahweh, but it was, I want to say it was YA. Yah. Okay, I'll have to look that up so I can share that with you. But when monotheism started, the Canaanites were worshiping the solar deity, and that's one of the deities that came over into Christianity. And so sometimes I want to remind people, I make a joke, I'm like, okay, think about it. If all of the gods are sitting up there around a round table, and one of them was like, I always say Aries because he's the god of war. I'm like, Aries was like, you know what? I get all the people to just worship me and not worship any of the rest of you. And monotheism was born. So there's Aries, like, I am God, the only God. It's just a funny thing that I envision in the deity realm. But that's kind of what happened. And they brought the parts of paganism into their monotheism, and then they just stuck with that masculine side. So, anyways, a lot of people kind of cringe when we talk about those aspects of the god, but they're ever present, and they are just as important as the mother aspects of the goddess. And so this is a great time to get out and honor that with Sagittarius' energy. So You know, this is when the goddess is honoring the god, and they are blossoming in their beauty. And their union is just beautiful. Okay, anyway, so lots of things going on right now in the full moon. Again, so it's a full moon in Sagittarius. It's a blood lunar eclipse, an umbra eclipse, so it'll be a full lunar eclipse. The moon will be anywhere from red to an orangish color, depending on where you are, and the refractions of the light through our atmosphere and the gases and the this and the that. That's what's going to make the moon a beautiful color. But it also has all of this great energy in it. So if you're looking to manifest something new, now is the time to do that. Really focus your intent on that and get her done. And you can do that. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I hope everybody has an amazing, blessed full moon.